You wake up in the morning with that deep exhaustion, like you've been hauling rocks all night. You look in the mirror and notice your belly is different, more swollen, more prominent on the right side. You try to ignore it, pretend it's just stress, just the inevitable march of time, but deep down you know something's wrong. Then comes that dull ache beneath your ribs, that heavy feeling that won't go away, and you start to wonder, is my liver trying to tell me something? You book a doctor's appointment, get blood work done, and when you go back for the results, you hear those words that make your world stop for a second. You have fatty liver disease, and immediately the barrage of questions hits your head. Is this serious? Will I need a transplant? Will my kids get it too? Why me? You leave the doctor's office with a stack of papers, some vague recommendations about diet and exercise, but without truly understanding what's happening inside you, without realizing there's a silent enemy destroying your liver at this very moment, and this enemy isn't what you think. I'm going to tell you something most doctors don't have time to explain in the office, something the latest research is revealing that could completely change how you understand fatty liver disease. There's a study published just a few months ago in the Journal of Hepatology that followed over 50,000 patients with fatty liver disease for 10 years. And the results are so surprising, they've shifted how the scientific community views this condition. They discovered that 87% of people who developed liver cirrhosis had one thing in common, a single factor that brutally accelerated the destruction of their liver. And this factor isn't what you're thinking. It's not sugar, it's not the fat in your food, it's not even lack of exercise. It's something much more insidious, much more dangerous, and it's present in the lives of most people with fatty liver disease without them even suspecting it. I'm a hepatologist, and I've spent the last 15 years of my career studying liver diseases, treating patients who arrive at my office desperate, scared, and seeking real answers. I've seen over 3,000 people with fatty liver disease, witnessed complete reversals, and seen cases that progress to cirrhosis. I can tell you with absolute certainty the difference between those two paths lies in understanding who the true enemy of your liver is and how to neutralize that enemy before it's too late. Today I'm going to reveal what this study discovered, show you how to identify if you're being attacked by this silent enemy, and most importantly, I'll teach you the exact protocol I use with my patients to reverse this condition and protect their liver from permanent damage. But before I tell you who this enemy is, I need you to understand something. If you've made it this far, it means you're truly taking your health seriously, and that already puts you ahead of 90% of people who get a fatty liver diagnosis and simply ignore it. I created this channel precisely for people like you, people who want more than just a diagnosis and a generic prescription, people who want to understand what's happening in their own bodies, who want science-based solutions, who want to regain their health for real. Every week, I bring you updated information, effective protocols, things I've learned not just from books, but from years of clinical practice, things many doctors don't have time to explain or don't even know yet because the research is so new. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because I'm going to guide you on this journey of liver recovery step by step, with no fluff, no miracle promises, just practical science. You're not alone in this, and together we'll reverse this condition before it becomes irreversible. Now, before I reveal your liver's worst enemy, let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is 42, a teacher, a mother of 2, and has always been an active woman, mindful of her diet. She didn't drink alcohol, didn't smoke, and walked 3 times a week. She was exactly the type of person you'd look at and think, she's doing everything right. Yet, 2 years ago, during a routine checkup, an ultrasound showed grade 2 fatty liver disease. Sarah was shocked. Fatty liver. She didn't eat fried foods, avoided sweets, and couldn't understand how this was possible. Her doctor told her to lose a little weight, cut back on carbs, and exercise more. Sarah followed the advice to the letter. She cut out bread, rice, and pasta, increased her walks to 5 times a week, and lost 7 pounds in 3 months. 6 months later, she went back for new tests, full of hope, thinking she'd solved the problem. When the doctor opened the ultrasound results, the silence in the room was heavy. The fatty liver had progressed to grade 3. Sarah started crying right there. She couldn't understand what she'd done wrong. She'd followed all the instructions, she'd committed herself, and yet her liver was worse. What she didn't know, what her doctor didn't know, was that Sarah was being attacked by the liver's worst enemy, and this enemy continued its work even with all the diet and exercise she was doing. Sarah's story isn't an exception, it's the rule. I see it every day in my practice. Dedicated, disciplined people who do everything right and still can't reverse fatty liver, some even get worse. And you know why? Because they're fighting the wrong enemy. They're focusing on diet and exercise, which are important, yes, but they're ignoring the real villain, the one behind all this inflammation, all this silent destruction happening inside the liver. This enemy has a name, and when you discover it, everything will make sense. You'll understand why that exhaustion won't go away, why your belly stays swollen, why your test results don't improve even when you're doing everything right. Now, I need to ask you a question, and I want you to be completely honest with me because your answer could help thousands of people watching this video right now. Since you found out you have fatty liver disease, how have you been feeling emotionally? Do you sleep well at night? Or do you lie awake wondering if this will progress into something worse? Do you feel that tightness in your chest when you remember you have this condition? Do you carry a weight of guilt, fear, and insecurity that no one around you truly understands? I know how hard it is to live with this, to know something isn't right inside you, but not have clear answers, not know if you're doing enough, if you're on the right path. The loneliness you feel on this journey is real, and I want you to know you're not alone. So I want you to comment below. Use these words if you like. I have fatty liver disease and need help. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel judged. This is a safe space, and when you comment, you're showing other people they aren't alone. You're creating a chain of support, strength, and hope. Comment now because I read every single comment. I answer questions, and your story matters. Your struggle matters. You matter. Now, let's get to what really matters. What is, after all, the worst enemy of your liver? The answer will surprise you, and at the same time, it will make everything click into place. The worst enemy of your liver is chronic low-grade inflammation caused by an imbalance in your immune system, specifically by the uncontrolled activation of cells called hepatic macrophages. Let me break that down for you. Inside your liver, there are defense cells that act like soldiers, protecting the organ from invaders, helping to clear toxins, keeping everything running smoothly. These cells are the macrophages. When you accumulate fat in your liver, these cells go into alert mode. They start producing inflammatory substances to try to fix the problem. But here's where the big mistake happens. In people with certain factors, especially insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome, these cells get stuck in a permanent attack mode. They can't shut down. They keep producing inflammation day and night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, destroying liver cells, creating scarring, slowly pushing you towards fibrosis and then cirrhosis. And here's the detail that changes everything. You could be on the perfect diet, exercising every day, taking medication, but if this chronic inflammation continues to rage, your liver will keep deteriorating. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing water on it while someone is standing next to you pouring gasoline. You might get some control, but you'll never truly extinguish it as long as the source of the fire is still active. This was what happened with Mariana. She was watching her diet, she was exercising, but the inflammation caused by those rogue macrophages kept destroying her liver. Until we figured this out and completely changed our approach. Let me tell you what happened with Mariana after we identified the real problem. We ran more specific tests, measuring inflammatory markers like high sensitivity, C-reactive protein, interleukin-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha. The results showed that Mariana's body was in a state of intense chronic inflammation. Her liver wasn't just accumulating fat, it was being bombarded by an inflammatory storm that her defense cells couldn't control. So we implemented a specific protocol to calm down this inflammation, not just with diet and exercise, but with targeted strategies to modulate her immune system, to teach her macrophages to return to their normal state, to stop attacking. In 3 months, her inflammatory markers dropped by half. In 6 months, the ultrasound showed a reduction in fatty liver from grade 3 to grade 1. In 1 year, Mariana's liver was practically clear, her liver enzymes normalized, her energy returned, the swelling disappeared. She told me, crying at her last appointment, "I thought I was doomed. I thought I'd need a transplant someday, and now I'm free." But why isn't this talked about? Why don't most doctors address chronic inflammation as the main enemy? It's simple. It's easier to tell a patient to lose weight and exercise than to explain this whole complex mechanism and implement an individualized protocol. It's not the doctor's fault. It's the healthcare system that doesn't allow for long appointments, that doesn't encourage personalized medicine, that pushes everyone into the same generic protocol. But the truth is, every person with fatty liver disease is unique, has a different inflammatory profile, responds differently, and needs a tailor-made approach. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I have this chronic inflammation? There are clear signs you can look out for. First, persistent fatigue that doesn't improve even with good sleep. Second, frequent abdominal bloating, especially after meals. Third, difficulty losing weight even with diet and exercise. Fourth, joint pain with no apparent cause. Fifth, mood changes, irritability, anxiety. Sixth, skin prone to acne or rosacea. Seventh, slow recovery from any illness or injury. If you have 3 or more of these signs, it's highly likely you're dealing with chronic low-grade inflammation, and it's sabotaging your liver health, even if you're doing everything right in terms of diet and exercise. Let me tell you the story of Bob, an interesting contrast to Maria. Bob is 55, works in an office, and admits he doesn't have the healthiest diet. He loves a weekend barbecue, doesn't exercise regularly. When he discovered grade 2 fatty liver disease on a routine checkup, his doctor gave him the usual lecture. He needed to lose weight, stop eating red meat, and exercise. Bob left the office a little frustrated, but decided he'd give it a shot. He started walking 3 times a week, cut out Sunday barbecues, and swapped soda for water. He didn't do anything too radical. Actually, he was quite moderate. 6 months later, he went back for follow-up tests. The ultrasound showed the fatty liver had regressed to grade 1. His liver enzymes were better. He'd only lost 4 pounds, but his liver had improved significantly. Why did Bob see results with such simple changes, while Maria did so much more and got worse? Because Bob didn't have uncontrolled chronic inflammation. His tests showed inflammatory markers within normal limits. His problem was simply the accumulation of fat due to excess calories and a sedentary lifestyle. When he corrected that, his liver responded well. Maria, on the other hand, had a dysregulated immune system, which required a completely different approach. This is the big lesson. Not all fatty liver is the same. There are people like Bob who basically need lifestyle changes, and there are people like Maria who need a specific protocol to control chronic inflammation. Otherwise, they'll keep getting worse even if they do everything right. The question you need to ask yourself now is, which group do I fit into, and how do I find out? The first thing you need to do is ask your doctor for specific inflammatory marker tests. It's not enough to just do TGO, TGP, and GGT. You need highly sensitive C-reactive protein, a complete blood count paying attention to the neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio, and an erythrocyte sedimentation rate, ideally interleukin-6, if your lab offers it. These tests will show if you have active systemic inflammation. If you do, you're in Maria's group and need to prioritize tackling inflammation. If you don't, you're in Bob's group, and lifestyle changes alone might be enough. Now, assuming you've discovered you have chronic inflammation, what's the protocol to reverse it? First step, adjust your diet, not just to lose weight, but to reduce inflammation. This means prioritizing potent anti-inflammatory foods. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, rich in omega-3, are essential. You should eat them at least 3 times a week. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage, which contain sulforaphane, a substance that regulates liver macrophages and reduces inflammation. Berries like strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries, rich in anthocyanins that modulate the immune system. Turmeric, the yellow spice in curry, which contains curcumin, one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatories. Use it daily in your food. Green tea, at least 2 cups a day, rich in catechins that protect liver cells. Extra virgin olive oil, use it as your primary fat source. It has polyphenols that fight inflammation. Walnuts, almonds, and Brazil nuts, rich in vitamin E and healthy fats. Garlic, ginger, cinnamon, all have proven anti-inflammatory properties. Second step, eliminate the biggest inflammation promoters. Refined sugar is enemy number 1. It brutally triggers the production of inflammatory cytokines. Refined vegetable oils like soybean, corn, sunflower, and canola oils are loaded with excess omega-6, which promotes inflammation. Ultra-processed foods, full of chemical additives that the liver doesn't recognize and that activate the immune system. Refined white flour, which behaves almost like sugar in the body. Trans fats, still present in many processed products, are pure poison for the liver. Alcohol, obviously, even in small amounts, can worsen liver inflammation. Third step, targeted supplementation. High-quality omega-3, at least 2 grams per day of combined EPA and DHA, preferably from purified fish oil. Vitamin D, most people with fatty liver are deficient, and vitamin D is crucial for regulating the immune system. A dose of at least 2,000 units per day. But get tested first to know your ideal dose. Magnesium improves insulin sensitivity and has an anti-inflammatory effect, 300 to 400 milligrams per day. Quality probiotics, because 80% of the immune system is in the gut, and a healthy gut means less systemic inflammation. NAC, N-acetylcysteine, a precursor to glutathione that protects liver cells and reduces oxidative stress, 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams per day. Silymarin, milk thistle extract, which regenerates hepatocytes and has an anti-inflammatory action, 300 milligrams twice a day. Fourth step, strategic exercise, not just to burn calories. You need exercise that reduces systemic inflammation. Brisk walking for 40 minutes, 5 times a week, has been proven to reduce inflammatory markers. Strength training 2 to 3 times a week, because muscles produce anti-inflammatory substances called myokines. Yoga or Tai Chi once or twice a week, which reduce cortisol and modulate the immune system through the relaxation response. The important thing isn't to kill yourself at the gym, it's to be consistent and choose activities you can maintain long-term. Fifth step, stress and sleep management. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which worsens insulin resistance and increases inflammation. Poor sleep, less than 7 hours per night, triggers the production of inflammatory cytokines. You need stress management techniques, whether it's meditation, deep breathing, nature walks, therapy, whatever works for you. And you need to prioritize quality sleep, 7 to 8 hours per night, in complete darkness, with no screens an hour before bed, and a regular routine. A lot of people ask me, how long does it take to see results following this protocol? The honest answer is that it varies from person to person, but in my clinical experience, you start to feel a difference in energy and mood within the first 2 to 3 weeks. Inflammatory markers begin to drop in 1 to 2 months. Liver enzymes start to normalize in 2 to 3 months. An ultrasound shows improvement in fatty liver within 3 to 6 months. Complete or near-complete reversal, when possible, takes 6 months to 2 years, depending on the initial severity and adherence to the protocol. But the important thing is that every improvement, no matter how small, means you're protecting your liver, preventing progression to fibrosis and cirrhosis, and gaining years of quality life. Another common question, can I take anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen to help? The answer is no. Common anti-inflammatories don't work for chronic metabolic inflammation, and worse, they can be toxic to the liver if used frequently. What you need is to modulate inflammation from the inside out through diet, specific supplements, and lifestyle. There's no magic pill for this. There's consistent work that brings real results. And if I already have fibrosis, can it still be reversed? It depends on the stage. Mild to moderate fibrosis, stages 1 and 2, has a high potential for reversal if you control inflammation and eliminate the cause. Advanced fibrosis, stage 3, can be stabilized and even slightly improved, but complete reversal is more difficult. Established cirrhosis doesn't reverse, but even then, you can stabilize it and prevent decompensation by following the protocol. The important thing is to start as soon as possible, because every day with active inflammation is a day of liver damage. Let me tell you another case to illustrate how this works in practice. Juliana, 38 years old, a businesswoman, came to my office with stage 3 fatty liver and very elevated liver enzymes. TGP at 220, when normal is up to 40. She was desperate because her previous doctor had told her she was heading for cirrhosis if she didn't make radical changes. Juliana had already tried several diets and gone to the gym. Nothing was working. We ran inflammatory marker tests and discovered she had severe chronic inflammation, C-reactive protein at 12, when it should be below 3. Additionally, she had severe insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. We implemented the full protocol, a strict anti-inflammatory diet, aggressive supplementation, daily exercise, stress management techniques, and improved sleep. Juliana committed 100%. In the first month, her energy improved drastically. In the second month, her TGP dropped to 150. In the fourth month, it dropped to 80. By the sixth month, it was at 55, almost normal. In the ninth month, we did a new ultrasound, and the fatty liver had regressed to stage 1. Her C-reactive protein was at 2. Juliana cried when she saw the results. She was convinced she was doomed, and in less than a year, she had reversed a condition that seemed irreversible. Today, 2 years later, she maintains a healthy liver. Her enzymes are normal. She lost 44 pounds in the process. But most importantly, she understood that the enemy wasn't the fat itself, it was the inflammation, and she learned how to control it. Now, if you have fatty liver and you've watched this video this far, you need to make a choice. You can continue doing the basics, generic diet, and moderate exercise, and hope it works. Or you can face the real enemy head-on, investigate if you have uncontrolled chronic inflammation, and implement a protocol that truly attacks the root of the problem. I know it seems like a lot of work, that it requires more than just cutting carbs and walking. But the difference between a superficial approach and a deep approach is the difference between temporarily stabilizing the problem and truly reversing it. If you have fatty liver, give this video a like right now because it helps me reach more people who need this information. Comment below your TGO and TGP levels if you know them, or comment if you've tried to reverse fatty liver and haven't succeeded. I want to hear your story. Share this video with someone you love who is going through this, because knowledge saves lives. And the more people who know that the true enemy of the liver is chronic inflammation, the more people will be able to reverse this condition before it's too late. I'll summarize everything for you to take away clearly. Your liver's worst enemy isn't the fat itself. It's the chronic inflammation caused by dysregulated macrophages attacking the organ 24 hours a day. This inflammation is fueled by insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, a pro-inflammatory diet, chronic stress, poor sleep, and a sedentary lifestyle. To reverse it, you need a protocol that goes beyond generic diet and exercise. You need to attack inflammation directly with anti-inflammatory food, targeted supplementation, strategic exercise, stress management, and quality sleep. You need to measure inflammatory markers to know if you're on the right track. And you need to be consistent, because reversal takes months, not weeks. But it is possible. I've seen hundreds of success stories. The liver is an incredible organ. It has a regenerative capacity that no other organ has, but you need to provide the right conditions for it to happen. And the number one condition is to eliminate chronic inflammation. In the next video, I'll talk about the 3 supplements that have most accelerated liver recovery in my patients, based on recent studies and my clinical experience. You'll discover exact dosages, best brands, and how to combine them for maximum effect. Don't miss it, because this information can significantly speed up your recovery. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're together fighting for your liver health, and together we will win this battle.